this young Yesimis upon you, young Sakin Dojinam, just young lower tributano. Jande Chugum shows, so now I'm going to read the translation first. The ground of the purification is the mind's nature, a union of lucidity, emptiness. What purifies is the great Vajra Yogi of Mahamudra. What is purified is the stains of, how do you read this, adventitious delusion. May the result of purification, the stainless Dharmakaya, be revealed. So, okay, that's next sentence. So, this one, so now, the first one is talking about the mind. Okay, now there's also ground, and then the method, and then there's result, and then there's object that we have to train, So the first line, it says, the ground. What is the ground? The ground is mind. So that's why the yogi Milarepa says, the mind that we have is the source of everything, I said last week too. When you don't realize and when you don't recognize its source of all the pain and suffering and negative karma and all samsara arises from the mind that we have with us all the time from the beginningless. But when you realize the nature of that mind, it is source of realization, achievement. All the qualities arise from that mind. So, although we have the mind nature is Dharmakaya again. What is the nature of mind? Nature of mind is nothing but Dharmakaya. So that's why in Buddhism we have, when we realize the enlightenment, there's two enlightenment. We have, two seat, Rajinerik and Genjurik. Rajinerik is the Dharmakaya that exists within us. So Genjur is you achieve enlightenment by eradicate your negativities, the result that we achieve from the purifications, from the cultivating the accumulations. So what happened is, although we have such a pure mind, but it's polluted by all these negativities. So that's why we don't see who we are. Although our nature is so perfect, so powerful, clarity, yet because we don't realize that, so therefore we are wandering in this samsara with all those negativities, negative emotions, 3 poisons, 6 poisons, afflictive emotions. So now our true nature is completely covered, so we don't see it. Now we are in this pain and suffering. For example, the masters use that example of diamond. Diamond is so precious, it's priceless. If you have so much diamond, you never ever need to worry about your wealth. Because diamond worth so much. You can sell it for millions and millions of dollars. Let's say if you have a diamond this size, pure diamond. Rest of your life, not only the rest of your life, maybe many generations of your family. No need to worry about food, clothes. Diamond is very expensive. We have our nature, our mind, that's so perfect, so enlightened, just like the diamond. But then why we have so much problem here? Then Master says, it's like you have that diamond, but then it's hidden under your basement. Your parents put under your basement, and before they tell you, they pass away. So now you don't know, and you don't have a good job, you don't have a good saving, you don't have a good, any other income sources. You're struggling, surviving, not enough funds to buy grocery, clothing, transportation every day. Because you don't know that you have the diamond. No idea you have such priceless jewel under your basement, underneath there. But then if somebody tell you that you have that and you go down and get your diamond, right from that moment, you are free from all this suffering that you're going through. Well, it's suffering of suffering of suffering. So it's like that, when we learn, when we listen to the reflect and meditate on teachings of Dharma, and then we realize our nature, our true nature, then we don't need to have, we no more worry about suffering of change, suffering all pervasive. You're beyond it. You're free from every false, mistaken limitation because you are enlightened. Why? Because you realize that you have. Knowing is one thing and realization is another thing. If somebody tells you something and you know it just by telling, hearing, but when you realized, for example, if there's a food, if your friend explains you the taste of food, you may have lots of ideas about the taste of food. But until you eat, you won't know exactly the taste until you eat. So same thing, knowing and realization is two different things. So we have heard many teachings, we read many books about emptiness, about nature of mind, but we never realized. Why we did not realize? We didn't have enough practice. When you realized, when you have enough practice, then you will realize through your own experience. Listening and reflect on the teaching is one thing, and the realization has to come from meditation. So here, the Simni, Jangye Simni, Satong Sunju, the mind, the ground of purification, because here we have to purify, right? We have to purify something that is completely, diluted our mind. Now we have to purify. It's the mind, yes. Mind's nature. Union of lucidity and emptiness. Well, the lucidity word is I'm not so familiar, but usually I use clarity. The clarity and emptiness. That is the nature of our mind. Clarity and emptiness. So, although we have that union of clarity and emptiness mind that is so powerful, yet polluted. Now, what do we have to do? We have to purify. So now we have to purify with something, purify by something. Buddha said, again, he said, Buddha is enlightenment. So we consider him as the best person, the most powerful person in the earth. Because he abandoned every obscuration, every mistake, every fault, every limitation, completely eradicate, and he achieved every quality that you can name. So if there's somebody who is like that, of course it's the best person, who is the perfect person. But then his teachings, he says, although I am such a person, I have no power to wash your negativities by my hand or water. I cannot transform my realization to you. The only thing I can do is I can show you the truth. That has so much power. That will liberate you. I can show you and you can practice it. That will liberate you from suffering of samsara. So now we have the method here. Now we have to practice Mahamudra. Mahamudra practice will purify. So what is Mahamudra practice? As I mentioned last time, the Mahamudra has slightly two different, Nelu Chachachimbo is the Sutra tradition of Mahamudra. According to Sutrayana, there is Mahamudra. Chachi Linchi Chijur. It's basically created by Gampopa. And then there's the Vajra point of view of Mahayana. That's the highest practice. Like Chakra Sambhara practice. The actual dissolution stage of the Chakra Sambhara practice, such as the 6 yogas of Naropa. And those have it says 3 Vajras. Did it say Sachin 3 Vajras? What purify is the great Vajra yoga of Mahamudra, yes. There's Vajra body, Vajra of speech, and Vajra of mind of the great yogis. Through receiving these, high tantric initiations and practice. But also actual Mahamudra practice. Mahamudra practice, from the taking refuge. And then doing preliminary practices. We have, common preliminary practice and uncommon preliminary practice. Then Vipassana meditation, Shamatha meditation, Vipassana meditation, and then pointing out the Dhammakaya, looking into mind, introducing mind itself. Those steps of a practice are the Vajra of Mahamudra. So those are the method of purification. So now, what do we have to purify? That's the next thing. Lower, Jangja lower, triple Dhamma. Dhamma means stain, smell. What stain is it? Stain that comes from temporary cause and conditions. If it's not temporary, come from temporary cause and conditions, then it's a permanent, everlasting. We cannot purify because it is a temporary, coming from temporary cause and conditions. We can apply right antidote, right method to purify. Lower means temporary. Jangja lower, tripritum, I say stain. It says confusion stain. The stain is, we're not talking about the like stain smell, so you real smell. But this stain, it's inside stain. Tripritama. So now we have ignorance. And we have anger, hatred, and jealousy, and all those dipa, two obscurations basically. Obscuration of emotion and obscuration of wisdom, Obscuration, that obscured wisdom. Doesn't mean wisdom itself is obscuration. So these what is purified is the stains of adventitious delusion, right? Because of these, we are still in the samsara. We're still so much suffering. So now, our mind that is inseparable of the emptiness and the clarity. So now we wanted to use the Mahamudra practice of 3 Vajra to purify these temporary obscurations that is covering our precious nature, precious clarity, nature of mind. And then once we do that, a result, when we do that, what is the result? Result, stainless Dharmakaya. It's again enlightenment. Stainless Dharmakaya will achieve. And then when we say stainless Dharmakaya achieve, it's not something that we are going to achieve something that never have. Again, we are going to realize, see our true nature. See by wisdom when those delusions disappeared, when the delusions eradicate by the Mahayana practice of 3 Vajra, we will see the result, that is the Dharmakaya, which actually has been exist within us, which is the essence, which is the nature of us, that we haven't realized. So that Mahamudra practice is the method to learn, to know that we have diamond, this much diamond under our basement. So then we will, see our priceless wealth, which is the Dhammakaya. So in prayer, it says, may the result of purification, the stainless Dhammakaya, be revealed. We have to reveal that stainless Dhammakaya.